Don't skip this. What if the way you view yourself could change your life? What if embracing the imperfect, flawed version of who you are could be the key to true freedom? The Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius always said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. It's not about trying to become perfect, but about accepting and loving yourself, flaws and all. In today's world, we're constantly pressured to achieve more, be more, and fit into molds created by others. But true self-love and acceptance come from within, and they don't have to be complicated. In this video, I'll share practical tips and powerful Stoic wisdom that can help you love yourself more deeply, understand your worth, and embrace your flaws. Stay with me until the end because I'll reveal some simple practices that anyone can start today to begin their journey of self-acceptance and love. If this resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Stoic Narratives official channel for more timeless wisdom and practical advice. Let's dive in. Number 1. Discover and honor your hidden potential. We often overlook one of the simplest truths. Within each of us lies untapped potential waiting to be discovered. But how do we uncover that potential? In Stoic philosophy, there's a key principle that says the obstacle is the way, meaning that the challenges we face often lead us to the best versions of ourselves if we only allow them to shape us. Many of us go through life not knowing what we're truly capable of. We live with the belief that we must fit a certain mold or pursue predefined paths set by society, family, or friends. But what if you could break free from this constraint and discover something within you that you didn't even know existed? What if, in understanding your hidden skills or passions, you could not only love yourself more, but truly appreciate who you are? To begin this journey, the first step is self-awareness. Start by acknowledging that there's more to you than meets the eye. You may have a passion or a talent you've never explored simply because you didn't think it was worth pursuing. Maybe you've forgotten how to dream. Or perhaps you've told yourself that you're too old, too tired, or too busy to try something new. But in the eyes of the Stoics, the pursuit of self-discovery is lifelong, and age, time, or circumstances don't define your worth. Take a moment to ask yourself, what have I always wanted to do but never had the courage to try? Maybe it's learning an instrument, writing a book, or even starting a business. We often wait for the perfect moment to start something new. But remember, the perfect moment is now. Seneca, one of the great Stoic thinkers, reminds us, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. The time to discover your hidden potential is now. One way to begin is by revisiting things that once brought you joy, but were pushed aside due to life's distractions. This could be anything, from painting to gardening to cooking, or even public speaking. If these are things that bring you satisfaction, then they are an important part of your potential. Stoicism teaches that our lives are not meant to be lived in isolation or as passive observers of the world. We are meant to engage fully, to grow, and to make use of the capabilities we have been given. In discovering our hidden potential, we must also honor it. It's not enough to simply recognize what we're capable of. We need to nurture it. This means stepping outside of our comfort zones and taking action. The Stoic philosophers didn't just talk about wisdom and virtue, they lived by these principles. They faced hardships with determination, knowing that these very challenges could reveal their truest selves. Take a moment to reflect on what has been holding you back. Is it fear, doubt, lack of time, or energy? These obstacles, as the Stoics suggest, are often the very things that help us grow. Epictetus famously said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." To unlock your potential, you must first accept the idea that you already have everything you need within you. The only thing you must change is your perspective. Think of someone who's truly inspired you, someone who made a change in their life later in age, someone who discovered their potential at a time when others would have given up. There's always a story of someone who, despite the odds, unlocked their hidden talents. Their journey wasn't easy, but they did it, and so can you. So I challenge you to think deeply about what you've always wanted to do. Maybe it's time to write that book, start that blog, or become a mentor. Whatever it is, Don't let self-doubt or fear of failure hold you back. Instead, embrace these challenges as opportunities to discover more about yourself. Because at the end of the day, the more you discover about your potential, the more you'll come to love yourself. Not just for who you are right now, but for who you are becoming. Number 2. Practice gratitude. When was the last time you truly paused and reflected on what you're grateful for? It's easy to overlook the simple gifts in our lives, and in doing so, we miss a powerful tool for self-love and self-acceptance. The Stoics believe that gratitude isn't just a fleeting emotion, it's a foundational practice for building peace within ourselves. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." This simple act of acknowledging the good in your life can shift your mindset, laying the groundwork for inner peace and greater confidence. But how does gratitude play into the concept of self-love? In a world that often emphasizes what we don't have or what we lack, gratitude teaches us to shift our focus toward what we've been given, our abilities, our growth, and the things we've achieved, no matter how small they might seem. In essence, it is about appreciating yourself and the journey you are on. Start by asking yourself, what is one thing I've accomplished, no matter how small, that I can be proud of today? This could be as simple as getting through a challenging moment or taking time for self-care. The key is that by focusing on the good, you begin to validate your efforts and reinforce your belief in your ability to grow. The Stoics taught that self-love doesn't mean being overly focused on yourself, but rather being in tune with yourself. Gratitude is a tool that helps you tune into the present moment and accept your circumstances as they are. By acknowledging the good in your life, you gain a sense of agency over your emotions and experiences. Gratitude grounds you in the reality that despite the challenges, there is always something to appreciate about who you are and where you are in your journey. This practice of gratitude has a profound impact on our confidence. When you actively focus on the positives in your life, you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. This doesn't mean ignoring the negative aspects of life, but rather reframing how you view them. When you feel stuck or overwhelmed, gratitude allows you to regain perspective and move forward with strength. For example, think of a moment when you were facing a difficult decision, or perhaps even a failure. It's easy to fall into a spiral of self-doubt and frustration. However, if you take a step back and practice gratitude, you might realize that in every challenge lies an opportunity to learn. That failure becomes a stepping stone rather than a setback, and you recognize that your ability to rise after each fall is something to be thankful for. This realization nourishes self-acceptance because it teaches you that you are worthy of love and care, even in your imperfections. How do you incorporate gratitude into your daily routine to foster self-love and self-acceptance? It starts with a simple practice. Every morning, spend a few moments reflecting on 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be grand accomplishments. They could be as simple as appreciating the quiet of the morning or the opportunity to grow in a specific area of your life. Writing these down in a journal can also help reinforce the practice. It becomes a personal record of how much progress you've made in learning to accept yourself, even when things feel difficult. Over time, this simple practice can dramatically shift your mindset. It helps you see yourself not as a failure or as someone who is lacking, but as someone who is constantly evolving. Gratitude teaches you to see the beauty in yourself, your efforts, and your experiences. It nurtures inner peace because it frees you from the constant pursuit of perfection and allows you to celebrate who you are right now. Just as the Stoics believed in accepting what is beyond our control, gratitude encourages us to embrace what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, and our perspective. By doing so, we cultivate not only self-acceptance, but also the foundation for lasting self-love. And this in turn fosters greater confidence. Because when you truly appreciate yourself, you can stand strong in your truth and continue to grow, no matter what life throws your way. Number 3. Practice positive thinking. You've probably heard people say, think positive. But what does that actually mean? For many, It's just a simple piece of advice that sounds good in theory. But in practice, positive thinking is a powerful tool that can radically transform your self-love and self-acceptance. It's not about ignoring the challenges of life or pretending everything is perfect. It's about learning how to reframe your thoughts so you can act with clarity, purpose, and confidence. In Stoic philosophy, the mind is considered our most powerful tool. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This quote perfectly encapsulates the essence of self-love. How you choose to respond to life's circumstances shapes the person you become. When you cultivate a positive mindset, you take control of your inner world, and from there, everything else follows. Let's take a moment and reflect on your life. Think about the thoughts that run through your head on a typical day. Are they thoughts of self-doubt, fear, or frustration? Or do you focus on the potential for growth, on the things you've learned, and on the opportunities in front of you? If you're like most people, your mind can often drift toward the negative, especially when things aren't going as planned. This is completely natural. The challenge, however, is not in having those thoughts, but in choosing to shift them. Positive affirmations are an incredibly effective tool for changing the way you think about yourself and your circumstances. These are short, simple statements that you repeat to yourself with the intention of reshaping your inner dialogue. The Stoics would say that by aligning our thoughts with reality and focusing on what we can control, we train ourselves to be at peace with whatever happens. Affirmations, then, become a tool for grounding yourself in the present moment, instead of getting lost in worries about the future or regrets about the past. Imagine starting each day with a few affirmations. I am worthy of love and acceptance. I am in control of my actions and thoughts. I have the strength to face today. These words might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been accustomed to self-criticism or negative thinking. But over time, they will become an integral part of your mental framework. Repeating them daily rewires your brain to recognize your inherent worth and the confidence that comes from self-acceptance. The key here is consistency. Positive thinking isn't something you can just switch on once and expect lasting change. It's a practice, one that requires patience and dedication. But when you consistently tell yourself that you are worthy, that you are capable, and that you can face any challenge that comes your way, you start to believe it. That belief then translates into self-love, because you recognize that you don't need external validation to feel good about who you are. This is where the Stoic principle of control comes into play. According to Stoicism, we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control our reactions. Practicing positive thinking aligns with this Stoic belief. When things don't go as planned, or when you face setbacks, instead of spiraling into negativity, you can choose to focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your responses. This doesn't mean ignoring the challenges or pretending everything is fine. It means accepting that challenges are a part of life and using them as opportunities for growth. For example, let's say you've been working on a project and it doesn't turn out as expected. It's easy to feel discouraged or frustrated. But rather than getting caught in negative self-talk, you can practice positive thinking by affirming that this setback doesn't define you. You can choose to learn from the experience, see it as a stepping stone to future success, and affirm that you have the strength to keep going. By doing this, you strengthen your self-acceptance because you realize that you are not your failures. You are the person who rises after each one. Another important aspect of positive thinking is the ability to celebrate small wins. In the pursuit of personal growth, we often focus on the big achievements, the promotions, the milestones, the public recognitions. But the true power of self-love and self-acceptance comes when we learn to appreciate the small victories. Getting out of bed when you feel tired, taking time for self-care, or overcoming a moment of doubt. Each small win is a reminder that you are capable, strong, and deserving of love. Number 4. Managing your emotions. Life can be challenging, and emotions can often feel overwhelming. It's easy to get swept away by feelings of frustration, sadness, or anger. But how we manage these emotions is directly tied to our self-love and self-acceptance. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't deny emotions, they accepted them, but they also believed in mastering them, not letting them control us. Let's begin by acknowledging an undeniable truth. Emotions are natural. We all feel joy, sadness, anger, fear, and love. These emotions arise from the circumstances in our lives, and it's okay to feel them. However, what truly matters is how we respond to them. Do we let them dictate our actions and perceptions of ourselves, or do we choose to manage them in a way that aligns with our values? This is where Stoicism offers profound wisdom. The Stoics believe that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control our reactions. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote speaks directly to the importance of managing our emotions. It's not about suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It's about acknowledging them and then making a conscious decision on how to act. Take a moment to reflect on a situation where you felt anger or frustration. Perhaps it was a misunderstanding with a friend, a setback in a project, or a disappointment at work. In those moments, how did you respond? Did you lash out? Did you stew in the negativity? Or did you pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I manage this emotion in a way that serves me? In self-love and self-acceptance, the goal isn't to avoid negative emotions, but to face them with understanding and resilience. When you encounter a difficult emotion, the first step is awareness. Notice what you're feeling and give yourself permission to experience it. Whether it's anger, fear, or sadness, the first step is to accept it. You are not your emotions, you are the observer of them. This perspective allows you to create space between the feeling and your response to it. After you've acknowledged the emotion, the next step is reflection. Ask yourself why you feel this way. Is the emotion rooted in a fear of failure, a sense of inadequacy, or a perceived threat to your self-worth? For example, if you feel angry because someone criticized you, you might uncover a deeper feeling of vulnerability or insecurity about your self-love. By understanding the root of your emotions, you gain insight into your own mindset and behavior. This reflection helps you gain control over your reactions instead of being controlled by them. The Stoics believed that reason is the key to managing emotions. In moments of emotional turbulence, it's important to pause and use reason to guide your next steps. This is where self-acceptance comes in. When you accept that emotions are a natural part of being human, you don't judge yourself for feeling them. You give yourself the grace to process them. But instead of letting emotions dictate your actions, you use your rational mind to respond in a way that aligns with your values and long-term goals. A powerful technique for managing emotions is breathing exercises. When you feel overwhelmed by an emotion, take a deep breath. Slow down your breathing. Focus on the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. This simple act of mindful breathing can ground you in the present moment and help you regain control over your emotional state. It allows you to shift from a reactive state to a more proactive one. Instead of acting out of anger or fear, you can choose to respond with wisdom, patience, and grace. Another technique is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and emotions helps you externalize them, making them easier to understand. Journaling is a tool for self-reflection where you can ask yourself difficult questions like, why did I react this way? What does this emotion tell me about my current mindset? By putting your feelings on paper, you remove their power to control you. Instead, you take control over them. When we practice emotional management, we begin to develop emotional resilience, which is the ability to bounce back from adversity. Resilience is key to self-love because it shows that no matter what happens in life, whether we experience criticism, failure, or disappointment, we have the inner strength to recover and grow from it. In the context of self-acceptance, emotional management means recognizing that we are not perfect. We will make mistakes, experience setbacks, and face difficult emotions. But we also have the power to choose how we respond. The Stoics teach us that virtue comes from how we handle these challenges, not from avoiding them. Number 5. Embracing imperfection. In life, there is one universal truth that we must all face. Perfection is an illusion, yet many of us chase it, believing that if we could just be better in some way, we would finally be worthy of love, respect, or success. But as the Stoics remind us, we are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them. It's not that we are imperfect, it's how we view our imperfections that holds us back. Self-acceptance is the cornerstone of true happiness and peace. To accept ourselves fully, we must embrace both our strengths and our flaws. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius teaches us that waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The key here is not to wait for an ideal version of ourselves to appear, but to accept who we are right now and build from there. So why is self-acceptance so difficult? It often comes down to our internal dialogue, the stories we tell ourselves about our worth and value. Society constantly bombards us with images of perfection, be it in beauty, wealth, or success, and we internalize these messages. Over time, we begin to believe that unless we measure up to these external standards, we are somehow lacking. But in doing so, we ignore the wisdom of the Stoics, who understood that true fulfillment comes not from external approval, but from internal peace. Self-acceptance is not about being complacent. It's about acknowledging where we are right now with all of our flaws and recognizing that these imperfections are part of what makes us whole. Remember, the obstacle is the way. The challenges we face, our struggles, our failures are not signs of weakness, but of growth. Each mistake is an opportunity to learn. Each failure is a lesson in resilience. To begin embracing self-acceptance, start by acknowledging the power of choice. You always have the power to decide how you respond to life's challenges. In every moment, you can choose to let go of the pursuit of perfection and instead focus on what truly matters, living with integrity, purpose, and authenticity. This doesn't mean resigning yourself to mediocrity. It means choosing to focus on what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and your ability to keep moving forward. When we embrace our imperfections, we free ourselves from the constant pressure to measure up. We stop wasting energy on comparisons and start investing that energy into becoming the best version of ourselves, not someone else. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Self-acceptance requires us to take responsibility for our reactions and for how we choose to handle the challenges that life throws at us. Self-acceptance also means letting go of the need for external validation. In a world obsessed with likes, comments, and followers, it's easy to forget that the only validation we truly need is our own. The Stoics were masters at finding peace within themselves, irrespective of external circumstances. They understood that our value doesn't come from how others perceive us, but from how we perceive ourselves. Consider the powerful idea that our worth is not tied to our achievements or the approval of others. This is an empowering shift in mindset. In fact, by accepting ourselves, we create space for growth. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. By accepting that we are enough as we are, we can focus on what we want to improve and make progress without the pressure of needing to be flawless. Number 6. Let go of the fear of judgment. A key obstacle to self-love and personal growth is the fear of judgment from others. It's an instinctive part of our nature to seek approval, to want to fit in, and to avoid conflict. However, if we're constantly seeking validation from the outside world, we risk neglecting our own needs and desires. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that external validation should never define our self-worth. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you allow others' opinions to determine your worth, you relinquish control over your own life. You hand over the reins of your happiness, your self-respect, and your sense of purpose to those who may not even understand your journey. This leads to an endless cycle of trying to meet the expectations of others, only to feel more lost and disconnected from who you truly are. Ask yourself this: why do I care so much about what others think? This question, though simple, cuts to the core of the issue. We tend to base our decisions and actions on how others will perceive us, rather than on what feels right for us. Whether it's choosing a career path, a lifestyle, or a relationship, we often let fear guide our choices. But this is exactly where Stoicism can help us. The Stoics teach that virtue, living a life of wisdom, courage, and justice, is the only true measure of success. It's not about what others think of you, but about how you align your actions with your values. When you live according to your inner principles, external opinions no longer hold the power to shape your self-worth. This is a hard truth to accept. The fear of judgment is not easy to overcome. It's a deep-seated fear that most of us experience, whether in social settings, professional environments, or even within our closest relationships. But here's the key. Judgment from others often says more about them than it does about you. When someone judges you or criticizes you, it's a reflection of their own values, biases, and insecurities, not yours. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them have the wisdom or virtue." In other words, if someone doesn't understand or respect your path, their opinion is irrelevant. The fear of judgment doesn't just limit your growth, it also prevents you from making decisions that are aligned with your authentic self. Think about a time when you were hesitant to follow your passion or pursue something that felt true to you, simply because you were worried about how others would perceive it. Maybe you didn't start that business you've always dreamed of, or you held back from speaking your mind in a meeting. Fear of judgment holds you back from fully embracing who you are. To move beyond this fear, the first step is to acknowledge it. Don't suppress or deny it. Recognize it for what it is, an illusion that keeps you stuck in a cycle of seeking validation. When you feel that fear rising, pause and ask yourself, is this judgment truly important? Does it align with my values and the person I want to be? Next, take action despite the fear. This is where Stoic courage comes in. It's not about the absence of fear, it's about moving forward in spite of it. The Stoics didn't teach that we should eliminate fear or discomfort, but rather that we should not let them control us. Seneca reminds us that difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. By choosing to act in alignment with your values, regardless of others' opinions, you develop a strength that transcends the judgment of others. Over time, as you continue to live true to yourself, the fear of judgment begins to lose its grip. You'll find that your actions and decisions are no longer influenced by what others think, but by what you know to be right for you. And this is where true self-love begins, when you love yourself enough to trust your own instincts, follow your own path, and embrace your authentic self without fear of rejection. Letting go of the fear of judgment doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process of shifting your mindset from external validation to internal validation. But as you move through this process, you'll find that you become more resilient, more confident, and more aligned with the person you're meant to be. You'll start making choices that honor your true self. And in doing so, you'll deepen your self-love and create a life that reflects your deepest values. To conclude, remember that Stoic wisdom teaches us that we are not defined by our circumstances, but by how we respond to them. Embrace your power to choose your reactions, your thoughts, and your actions. It's through these choices that we build a life of integrity, resilience, and true freedom. Now take the first step. Start today. Whether it's cultivating self-awareness, practicing self-discipline, or learning to set healthy boundaries, every action you take toward your personal growth matters. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The power to change is within you right now. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this journey. Drop a comment below and share your experiences with the Stoic practices we discussed today. How have they influenced your life? What challenges have you faced? Let's continue the conversation. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official for more. Trust me, the next video will bring even more valuable insights to help you thrive.